Let's go to the final team before we go to another break. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City.
Interesting.
This is going to be an interesting one because they started so well, 10 games unbeaten. Then, since then, it's gone a little bit pear-shaped. Some of the transfers in and out have been questionable. I gave them a C-.
Wow.
Yeah. I think because they started so well and they
you gave Arsenal a C2, so
they started really well. I think the underlying fact is that the players aren't good enough for what Pep wants them to do.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think next season I think he didn't realise how much dead weight he had to get rid of. Yeah. I think players like Yaya Toure.
I think he even bought dead weight, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, I don't think they're up to the task at all.
Like who specifically?
I don't. This is unfair, but Gundogan is injured and is going to be injured for the rest of his life. I don't think Sané. See, I got it right there. Yeah, I don't think Sané is going to be the player people thought he was going to be. I know
he's been okay.
He's been okay.
He's young, yeah.
I expected more from him. I expected him to be starting every week and blowing me away.
Yeah.
Navas,
yeah.
Huge amount of dead weight. Nalisho is good, but he gets benched half the time as well.
Yeah.
Bravo.
You know, there's a lot
Why
to
did
say
they
about
do
him.
that? That is so mind-boggling.
Well, you see, he wants his mate over.
I don't like when people say that because people talk about, you let Joe Hart go. But does anyone remember what Joe Hart was doing at the Euros? He was letting in Gareth Bale free kicks from like 50 yards. I mean, people want to talk about Joe Hart as if he was like the Gordon Banks. Like, no.
He was a Man City player, though. He was Man City.
He was,
and
he was really bad.
He's English, so they're going to have to buy some other English fella to replace him.
But he was really bad last year, and he was atrocious in the Euros.
He's really bad at the Euros.
Against Iceland. You know, if I'm Pep Guardiola and I'm sitting in my New York apartment watching the Euros, the first thing I'm doing is, right, we've got to get rid of Joe Hart.
No, because then I think when the season started, I thought he did okay. And then
he only played like 2 games.
I know, but I didn't think he did anything horrible, but everyone was like, oh, Guardiola doesn't like him, so he's going to be gone.
And if he was watching, like you said, then he would have seen Sterling and been like, fuck it, I have to sell him too.
Yeah. So, well, Sterling's a young player with potential, to be fair.
I guess.
Joe Hart isn't that old for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And he's proven himself bit more than Sterling too.
I think Bravo's been bad, but I can understand why you get rid of Joe Hart, and I can understand why all these pundits are raving about Joe Hart because how bad he's been for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
he's been.
I don't think he's been bad for 3 or 4 years.
He's been pretty bad for a couple of years. Maybe not 3 or 4, but he's been bad for 2 or 3 anyway.
I don't agree.
Kieran, any more thoughts? Where do you think it's going wrong?
Yeah, I think what your point was is that Pep Guardiola probably doesn't have enough time to have built the team into the system that he wants. Yeah. And I think that people are slagging and they're saying, Guardiola, he was able to turn it on immediately with Bayern, immediately with Barcelona, but those 2 squads were vastly different to this Man City squad. So he needs time. He's got no pressure on him.
That Barcelona team was on the way up and that Bayern Munich team was at its peak.
Yeah.
This City team has been going down slowly for a couple of years.
Which is why I think Guardiola took this job. Obviously, he got paid a ton of money, which helps in your decisions. But I think Guardiola is the kind of guy that likes new challenges and new styles. All the interviews I've seen with him, he's been saying how the English league is different and how he thinks he knows things that will help the game adapt and all these kind of phrases. It's not someone that's only here for a year. He's here for a plan. Where it's been going wrong for Man City, they've just been slipping again to silly draws and silly results.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that Everton game sticks out to me where they drew 1-1, where they were all over Everton. I remember watching it for 90 minutes and then I think it was either an early goal or a late goal.
Yeah.
And it just silly things like that.
I think some of the players have let him down as well. For example, like I think Aguero hasn't been amazing this season. I think De Bruyne hasn't been amazing this season.
And is that Guardiola's fault?
That's true. Maybe those players aren't good enough to play this style of football he wants them to do.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I was looking at some of the stats, but Otamendi is like their best defender by country mile. He's the most tackles, interceptions, passes as well. He's pretty high. But when I watch him, I don't think he's that good. But
they've missed company.
They really have.
I don't think they're as bad as you guys think they are.
What grade did you give them?
I'd say they're a B-.
A B-?
Yeah.
Okay. Defend yourself here, Flynn.
Well, I mean, that's... What did you give them? C?
I gave them a C-.
I don't think they're doing as bad as people think because even, like, people think of the Chelsea game, which was, I guess, people's turning point on Pep. A lot of people, they were like, found out. They could have won that game easily, but for the grace of God, but for a few chances, like that could have gone either way.
But they didn't.
Yeah, I know they didn't, but they performed well for a lot of it.
They were the better team in that game.
You don't win the league on performances.
They were the better team in the Leicester game too.
You win the game. You win the league with points, not performances. I mean,
Sure, someone could just go change the scoreboard.
But I mean, it's his, I think it's he was probably told at the start of the season, "I want you to win the league."
I think that's the.
And that's where you got to gauge it. They're down to fourth.
He has had unlimited resources, so any failure at all really is highlighted, especially because people want him to fail as well. But I don't think they're that bad, and I think they'll still be right up there.
I still think they're one of the 4 teams. I think they're going to transfer excited. But
I think
if Man City can replicate the form that they had against United, that game before, then they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
But they've dropped points against big teams.
Yeah.
Spurs, Chelsea, Leicester, and Liverpool. They've all lost to.
Chelsea have dropped points against Spurs and Liverpool too.
Yeah.
And Arsenal.
The top 5 or 6 are really interchanging results against each other.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just the fact that Chelsea went on this insane run.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, what can you say? Was it 14 games?
13.
Yeah. I mean, that's a freak of nature kind of run. That doesn't come around very often. And they're still only, it's not only, but 7 points after that incredible run. They're not out of sight.
No.
I still think they're going to challenge for the title.
Okay. Well, geez, how could you give them a C minus though?
Because I think that because of the reputation and because of the players they've signed and all the resources they had, they should be at least second or first.
But they're only 2 points off second.
I know, but they're still not there. You know, if you know what I mean. It's where they are right now.
It's one game. One game.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of a break. We're going to come back to Manchester United. That'll be a pretty interesting one.